Good morning. Steve Watkins, CEO of Lifescape here, and we've made a decision that we're going to ask all of Lifescape to go ahead and take part in the influenza immunization this year. You probably heard a little bit about it from Mayor Paul as well as the Sanford Navarra team, and the goal really is to try to keep the beds open for care of COVID patients. And when you take the immunization, there's a chance that one, you may not get it, and two, if you do get it, obviously, it could be a lot less severe, keeping those beds open. So that really is the goal. And so as we work our way through it, your supervisors will be able to get you a little more information on it. We still have some of the opportunities through whether it's a religious issue, maybe a medical issue, those kinds of things to work through. So I just ask that you talk to your supervisor if you have any questions. But we also thought it'd be a good opportunity to bring somebody in who really understands why we're doing this. And today I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Peters. Dr. Peters just shared with me that she has 37 years with the McGreevy Clinic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And this is her first day of retirement, and she's spending it with the Lifescape team. So along with that, Dr. Peters has been a board member since 2006, a family practitioner. And I do want to read off just a few lists of the professional organizations so you understand the credibility that she brings as not only a board member but an advisor, particularly on this issue. First up, the American Academy of Family Physicians, the American Board of Family Practice, the Avera Health Board of Directors, the South Dakota Perinatal Association Board of Directors, Education Committee of the South Dakota Academy of Family Practice, the Center for Family Medicine Board of Director, Prairie Rehabilitation Services Medical Director, Avera Health Mission and Strategic Planning Committee, to name a few. I didn't read them all off, but I also know she does some medical missions throughout the world as well, and we're just so blessed to have somebody with that caliber of background able to talk to us about today about how important influenza immunization is. So I'm going to be quiet now and let you hear from somebody who knows what's going on. And we just ask that you take a listen to what Dr. Peters has to say. We are actually going to share this with the Lifescape families as well as the Lifescape staff. So thank you for joining us today.
Sure thing. Thank you very much, Steve. And I have on my mask, but in order for you to understand me a little bit better, I'm going to take it off. But I am here to still encourage you to wear masks, and I know that you need to do that when you're at work, but I really, really encourage you to wear the mask when you're out and about and around crowds, because we don't want you to get COVID, and certainly this can help protect you too from influenza. So still remember, wear the mask and wash your hands. So I will now remove it. Hopefully you can hear me a little bit better now that it's off, okay? So yes, I agree that doing the influenza vaccine is very important, and I hope that all of you will take advantage of it, and I'm assuming it will be given here, Steve? Is that
Yes, we'll have various areas to be able to get the shots and set up the schedules and the times. All that's coming.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah, that's very good. So it's very helpful when you can do it at your place of employment. And I know most people don't like to get poked. I don't really like to get poked. Today I got one of my immunizations, but it's very important. And over the years, I've certainly seen people with influenza, and influenza can make you feel really, really sick. And personally, I've had influenza way back in the day before we had immunizations, and I had to stay in bed at least a week. I had a fever of 102 and 103, and I developed influenza during the winter, probably January, February, and then I coughed until July. I thought I would never get over that cough. And I just say, well, the July heat must have burned it out of me. But it was definitely not a very good thing to be sick with influenza, plus the lingering effects of it. And some people end up in the hospital because of influenza pneumonia. Sometimes you get a bacterial pneumonia on top of it, which makes you still sicker. You need antibiotics, you need to be home, or unfortunately maybe in the hospital because you need extra support such as oxygen. or respiratory therapy. So all in all, influenza is not very nice. Thankfully, we do have one or two medicines we can give to people if we find out about it soon enough to give it to them, so maybe the influenza doesn't get as strong in their body or last as long. But you never know. Medicines aren't always perfect. So the one thing that we can certainly do ahead is this one shot. Doesn't hurt too bad. If you want to take some Tylenol after the shot in case you think you might feel a little feverish, there's nothing wrong with that. But I highly encourage you to get the immunization. And the other thing is, if you would get influenza, you might be working before you ever know you truly
Sure.
have it. Just like we talk about COVID, there could be some asymptomatic days when you're just maybe slightly under the weather or think you're catching a cold, and then 3 days later, kapow, you're sick, you got the high fever, and here you may have been spreading the influenza to others. So that's another wonderful reason to get it, and we sure don't want any of our children here or our adults that we take care of to get influenza. So hopefully everybody will get that immunization.
Can you speak to the safety of the shot? I know some people have concerns with the safety of the shot.
They're very safe. You know, over all these years that I've been doing medicine and giving immunizations, right now I can't even think of one at this time. You know, years and years ago, there were people who had trouble after the swine flu vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
But in these last, I'd say 7, 8, 10 years, that has not happened. So I feel
Okay.
very, very safe. There should be no issues with taking the vaccine other than, like I said, maybe you run a little fever or feel a little under the weather. Some people feel like they get a little cold, but nobody should say that they're getting the flu from the flu vaccine.
Okay. And then how about the effectiveness? Sometimes you hear, well, I hear it's not effective, so I'm not going to do it.
Well, that's a very good question, Steve, because we know over the years sometimes the influenza vaccine doesn't cover as well because we actually picked the wrong form of the influenza that we think is coming, and we make the vaccine to the one they think is coming, and then the little virus changes its ways. So we do our best to figure out which influenza virus is going to be the one that hits our country and make a vaccine to that one. And when we pick it right, which is almost always the case, it takes care of people very well. Whether 60-70% coverage, but a lot, and it's something that we should be doing.
I've heard even if it doesn't prevent it, it minimizes the impact of the flu.
That's right. Your body gets some immunity going so it can fight it off easier.
Okay. Well, anything else you'd like to share with us on the influenza? Whether what to do to stay away from it, hygiene, anything like that?
Yeah, well, that's right. So just like you're doing now for COVID-19, wear your mask and wash your hands a multitude of times a day. And we tell people if you're going to sneeze, you sneeze into your elbow, or if you do have a handkerchief, and then throw that away and wash your hands again. Cover your mouths if you cough, wash your hands. Certainly, if you feel like you're sick, whether you're running a fever or getting a significant sore throat or bad cough, you should be checked out. We do have testing for influenza, just like we do for COVID. And the influenza test comes back very quickly compared to right now how we're waiting for most COVID tests. So if you have at all any idea that you might have influenza, call your doctor. You can get checked very easily and find out right away. So be careful, stay home if you're sick, cover your coughs, wash your hands, get the immunization.
Excellent. Well, this team's probably heard that before, once or twice now, but obviously somebody who has a much better skill set than I do is now telling you the same thing. So thanks everybody. Thanks to the LifeScape family and everything you do for us. And thank you Dr. Peters, and congratulations on your retirement.
Yes, thank you very much, Steve, and it's been a pleasure to visit with all of you. Take care and stay safe.